Alright, there seems to be this notion that Trump cannot win. Well, that is starting to change now, I guess, according to the polls and public opinion. But initially, when he first ran as Republican candidate, and even in the primaries, people underestimated Trump from the very beginning. Gandhi said it best. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they attack you, then you win. And that is essentially what happened in the Republican primary. And that is also what is happening in the candidacy right now between him and the cunt, or him and Hillary. And I will show you exactly why Trump will win the election, if things remain the same. If the dynamic stays stable, and there's nothing that, if Trump doesn't screw up very, very badly in a debate, things will go according to plan. Initially, when he first was running against Hillary, the maps would show her as 400 electoral votes, and you'd see people on Twitter and people on Facebook or what have you all kind of laugh at that. They couldn't even begin to understand how Trump has a chance. They were condemning everything he did. But that is not true now. If there's one thing you know about Donald Trump is do not underestimate him. And the political pundits, they like to push this narrative that Trump is actually going to get his ass kicked. They're starting to change that now. You can tell they're starting to get kind of afraid now with Trump, since the polls are starting to dictate that he is actually winning here. The degree of which they did not foresee coming. I mean, how could they? For instance, Hillary is their chosen candidate. She has been the chosen candidate since 2012. She is destined to win. A person like Trump with no political experience should not hinder her abilities to win at all. But, like I said, Trump will win. And first, before we do this, I just want to clarify that do not listen to all these polls. First and foremost, how many of you have actually been called or someone stopped at your house to ask you who you're voting for? It's rare. Why? Because they use landlines. How many younger people have landlines? Not many. And they also go house to house. Well, a lot of kids don't fucking live in a house. They have condos or apartments upstairs. So a lot of these poll numbers, they only ask about 1,000 people average. Well, there's about 330 million in the country, and Trump needs about 70 million to win. That is a vast array of individuals who have not been questioned. So, here is how Trump is going to win. First, we'll go over just the easy ones that is guaranteed to happen. He will win my state, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, Utah. Right now, we'll give him that for sure. He's also going to get Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, or I said Mississippi, Missouri, West Virginia, Indiana. These are all guaranteed now. Hillary, she's going to win New York, obviously. She's going to win New York, California. She's going to win Pennsylvania. She'll win Virginia because Tim Kaine is from Virginia. Minnesota is a communist state. Washington's communist. Oregon's communist. Hawaii's communist. Alaska is Trump. Maine, we'll get back to that. Hillary will have D.C., Maryland, Delaware, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Missouri. What the fuck am I talking about? Michigan, Wisconsin. There we go. So far right now, Hillary is ahead 214 to 164. But that is going to change a lot. Polls are starting to indicate that Trump is dominating in Ohio and in Florida. So right there alone, he's neck and neck with her. He's also, the red states predominantly are the southeast. And Republicans usually win states like Georgia. So we'll add Georgia to the mix there. I believe polls do indicate that he is ahead Georgia right now. But what's also interesting to note is that Colorado is now a state in play. Primarily, this is a blue state, but the dynamic is changing due to Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson has about 14% of the vote there. And what does that mean? Well, pot is legal in Colorado, obviously. So Gary Johnson's views on that are more liberal. Therefore, people that don't like Hillary, they're going to be voting for Johnson because Johnson is a good substitute to vote for. They don't want Trump. They don't want Hillary. They vote for Johnson. So essentially, Johnson will be taking votes away from Hillary in Colorado, which I believe will give Trump the red state. Right there alone. Colorado could be the key to winning this election for Trump. Also now, Hillary will win most of Maine, But in one poll, Trump is ahead by 12 points in one of the second districts. So yeah, that's a Trump right there. Trump is also kicking ass in Iowa. Illinois, Obama's haven of crime, or his, as he calls it, his paradise. That's definitely blue. So now we have this. Trump is currently winning right now. Arizona, that's predominantly red as well. And they usually align themselves with the Republican Party. I know Senator McCain and Trump don't get along. However, I believe the Republican populace in Arizona do not want Hillary. Yes, there is a Hispanic population there. However, they usually do go red. And Trump also has the support of Sheriff Joe, I forgot his last name, and the ex-governor of Arizona. So he does have a lot of support there. I believe Trump will win Arizona. It's pretty much guaranteed there. So right there, we have 254 to 237. Now we go to some of these major swing states. North Carolina is now a swing state. However, Trump is currently winning in the polls right now. Vermont, that's going to go blue. I forgot about that. New Hampshire, they were neck and neck, but now Hillary actually is winning New Hampshire. So we'll give it to her just to be nice about it. New Jersey, Chris Christie's state. Everyone thought that's always blue. That's always predominantly blue. But it's potentially could be red now. Trump is actually starting to garner some of these votes. I wouldn't necessarily say from Governor Christie, but just in general that Trump actually used to be a Democrat, and he is from the Northeast area. And he's kind of aligning himself with some Democratic values and beliefs. The policies are kind of similar. He just initiated, or he just stated his child care plan alone, which is definitely going to help with the liberal vote here. I know people like Glenn Beck and other conservative radio hosts are kind of freaking out about it. How, oh yeah, we told you Trump is a Democrat. Look at this. Look what he said about child care here. Not necessarily. There's nothing wrong with universal health care as long as it's paid for properly. You got to cut spending. You can't just do it by raising taxes to create revenue. It doesn't work that way. That's why Obama fucked us so much. But I expressed about Obama enough for today. Anyways, we'll leave that blank for now. So we have 254 to 244 in favor of Trump so far. New Mexico, that's going to go blue. I missed that guy. So, pretty close right now. Nevada, Trump is actually winning in the polls. The most recent poll, actually, I believe, is ahead by 5. Now, the debate is going to be essential. In the debate, Trump needs to behave himself. He needs to attack her, but only as a response to her attacks. And you know that she will be attacking Trump. She is going to try to bring up all types of his past transgressions, him cheating on his wife, stuff like that. She's going to want to make this narrative to display him as some kind of lunatic who has no business, no temperament to be commander-in-chief. And she's going to try to goad him. She's going to try to get him to freak out to prove her point that he lacks the temperament. And Trump needs to hit back. He can bring up the foundation. But he cannot personally insult her. Insulting her is not going to help his cause, and in the end, I believe it could be detrimental to his campaign. However, I think Trump is smarter than that. Trump is smarter than people give him credit for. So with that, Nevada will be neck and neck. But if the debate goes well, as I believe it will, Trump should definitely pull ahead in the polls after the debate. He will. So there, we'll give Trump Nevada. So right there alone, Trump has 260 to 249. There's 2 states yet in there. North Carolina and New Jersey. Both have possibility for red states. North Carolina is probably the more closer to happening. Trump is leading in the polls. He has been leading in the polls for the last few months now. I believe Hillary is leading in a couple of them, but nothing that could cause any kind of substantiation of it. So, right there alone, if we give Trump North Carolina, Trump wins. If we get Trump New Jersey, Trump wins. Either way, Trump's going to win. It could end up like this. Or it could even be a bigger blowout. Maybe Trump can pull Wisconsin or his belt. Most recent poll shows that Trump's only down by 3 in Wisconsin. And Wisconsin has Governor Scott Walker, who endorsed Trump, who's also Republican. So Wisconsin is usually a communist state. However, they have been becoming more red, obviously because they're governor and stuff like that. So right there alone, Trump could have 285 to 253. So it's not as far off as the political pundits are saying. It's not as big a gap between Trump and Hillary as they are claiming. If there is a gap, it's that Trump is on top and not Hillary. As you can tell by Hillary's most recent union speech where she freaked out with her eyes wide open. She looked like she was having a freaking stroke. She probably did have a stroke. I never seen anyone look so crazy and insane. If you haven't watched that video, just type in on YouTube Hillary Clinton union speech. It's like a minute long. Just watch the bitch. But that's how it's going to end right here. Or we could even be nice. Let's say Trump, for whatever reason, loses North Carolina. Well, right there now, Hillary wins. However, Trump could still win Pennsylvania. And why do I say that? He went to school there. All his children went to school there. He has foundations there and stuff like that. Pennsylvania, although I believe it's going to go blue, does have the potential to turn red. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter if Trump loses Wisconsin. He can still win it, 280 to 258. North Carolina even. You hear a lot on radio shows or TV how Trump has no chance because the swing states are going to be key and he just doesn't have any ground game. Well, Hillary has been outspending Trump like crazy, yet Trump is still neck and neck with her and occasionally leading. Imagine what's going to happen when Trump actually starts doing advertisements, when he starts doing ground game and actually starts spreading his campaign to more a populist movement. Things could change a lot then. But my prediction is she'll still take blue, and Trump will take North Carolina. And this, as of now, is how it would end. And like I was saying, my justification for this is obviously the polls, and also the polls only require, or they only talk to people on landlines and house to house. There is a silent majority out there that could turn this number into this number, or even into this number. Do not underestimate Trump. Do not underestimate Trump's support by the populist movement. Do not underestimate the hatred people have for Hillary Clinton. This is either going to be a close race or it'll be a blowout with Trump to victory. It's that simple. Do not listen to the political pundits. Do your own research. You'll figure it out just as I have. Trump will win like this. I believe that's how I had it before. And I'm done.